My beloved brothers and sisters, pause for a moment and consider this eternal question: what awaits us when the light of this life fades? For millennia, humanity has stood at the edge of this mystery, yearning to know what lies beyond the veil of death. Long before the sacred words of our scriptures were written, the ancient Egyptians, with hearts full of wonder, crafted a guide so profound, so radiant, that it became a compass for the soul's journey into eternity. This is not a story of endings, but of beginnings of life, transformation, and a cosmic rebirth that speaks to every heart seeking truth. Come, let us embark together on a pilgrimage through the mysteries of the Egyptian Book of the Dead and uncover how its ancient wisdom still calls to us, inviting us to live with courage and hope. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile's gentle waters cradled the land and the golden sands stretched toward the horizon, a civilization arose that saw the divine in every breath, every star, every cycle of the sun. The Egyptians were not merely architects of towering pyramids or rulers of vast kingdoms. They were visionaries of the soul, weaving a spiritual tapestry that would endure for thousands of years. Their sacred guide, known to us as the Book of the Dead, was not a single volume bound in leather, nor the work of one mortal hand. No, it was a living tradition, a collection of spells, prayers, and wisdom passed from generation to generation, from the sacred halls of temples to the quiet sanctity of tombs. This tradition began over 4,000 years ago in the time of the Old Kingdom, when the pyramid texts were carved into the stone walls of royal burial chambers. These were not mere inscriptions, but divine words crafted for pharaohs, kings seen as gods among men, destined to ascend to the heavens and dwell among the stars. Written in intricate hieroglyphs, these texts were both prayer and guide, offering spells and incantations to ensure the soul's safe passage through the afterlife. Yet, as the centuries turned, this sacred privilege began to spread. By the Middle Kingdom, around 2,100 years before the birth of Christ, the wisdom appeared in the coffins of nobles and officials in what we now call the coffin texts. This was a profound shift, my friends, a democratization of eternity. No longer was the promise of eternal life reserved for kings. With the right rituals, offerings, and knowledge, even the humble could aspire to transcend death. By the New Kingdom, around 1550 BC, the texts took their most enduring form, papyrus scrolls often stretching over 20 meters, adorned with vivid illustrations of gods, demons, and celestial trials. These scrolls, meticulously crafted by skilled scribes, were placed alongside the mummified bodies in tombs, a final gift to the departed. The Egyptians called them the Book of Coming Forth by Day, a title that radiates hope. Do you hear it? This was not a book of death, but of rebirth, a sacred map to guide the soul from the darkness of the grave into the eternal light of the next world. Each scroll was unique, tailored to the beliefs, wealth, and desires of the deceased. Some were lavish, painted with scenes of divine judgment. Others were modest, bearing only the essential spells. Yet all shared a single purpose: to equip the soul with the knowledge, protection, and power needed to navigate the mysteries of the afterlife. As we reflect on this, let us consider the faith of these ancient people. They believed that life did not end with the body's final breath, but continued in a realm as real as the one we inhabit now. Their scrolls were not mere superstition, but a testament to their trust in the divine order, a belief that the soul, with the right preparation, could rise triumphant. This faith, dear ones, invites us to ask, how do we prepare our own hearts for the journeys that lie ahead? Let us now turn inward, my dear friends, for the Book of the Dead is more than a guide for the afterlife. It is a mirror held before the soul, asking us to gaze upon our own lives with honesty and courage. Unlike the sacred texts we hold dear, which often call us to seek salvation through a divine savior, this ancient tradition urges the soul to prepare itself, to examine its own heart, to live in alignment with truth and justice. It is a call not to wait for eternity, but to begin the journey now in the choices we make each day. The Book of the Dead was not a uniform scripture, but a deeply personal work. Each scroll was crafted with care, reflecting the life and hopes of the one who would carry it into the next world. Some were adorned with vibrant images of gods and cosmic trials, their colors as vivid as the Egyptian sun. Others were simple, bearing only the essential words of protection. Yet all served the same sacred purpose: to arm the soul with the tools to face the unknown. These scrolls were not merely collections of magical spells, they were spiritual diaries, records of a life striving for purity, a testament to the soul's readiness to stand before the divine. Within these texts, the deceased would declare their innocence, affirm their values, and seek safe passage through the trials of the afterlife. This was not a passive act, but an active reckoning, a moment of self-reflection that demanded moral integrity. The spells were not shortcuts to salvation, but reminders of a life lived in service to truth. In this, we find a profound lesson. The journey to eternity is not something that begins at death. It begins in the quiet moments of our lives, in the choices we make, in the love we show, in the truth we uphold. Consider, for a moment, the scribes who penned these scrolls. They were not merely copyists, but guardians of a sacred trust, their hands guided by a belief that their work would carry a soul into eternity. Their care, their precision, their devotion, these were acts of love, offerings to both the departed and the divine. And so, too, are we called to live with such care, to craft our lives as offerings, to prepare our hearts not just for the hereafter, but for the sacred now. As we ponder this, let us ask ourselves, what would our own scroll say? If we were to stand before the mirror of our soul, would we see a heart light with compassion, or one weighed down by regret? The Book of the Dead reminds us that the soul's journey is not a distant event, but a daily pilgrimage, one that calls us to live with purpose, to seek truth, and to walk humbly with the divine. My dear brothers and sisters, let us now step into a sacred moment, one that stirs the heart and pierces the soul, the weighing of the heart. Imagine a celestial hall bathed in divine light, where Osiris, the god of the afterlife, sits enthroned, his gaze both merciful and just. Before him stand 42 divine judges, their presence a reminder of the eternal order that governs all creation. Here, the soul of the departed stands, trembling yet hopeful, its heart, the vessel of memory, emotion, and morality, placed upon a golden scale. On the other side rests the feather of Ma'at, the embodiment of truth, justice, balance, and cosmic harmony. This is no mere metaphor, my friends. To the ancient Egyptians, this trial was as real as the beating of our hearts today. The heart, bearing the weight of a lifetime's deeds, would speak silently through its weight. A heart heavy with lies, cruelty, or betrayal would tip the scale, signaling doom. But a heart light with truth, compassion, and integrity, one that had lived in harmony with the divine order, would balance or rise, granting the soul passage to eternal peace. Prepare for this moment. The soul would recite one of the most powerful passages in the Book of the Dead, known as Spell 125, or the Negative Confession. Listen to its words, for they echo across time. I have not committed sin. I have not robbed. I have not slain unjustly. I have not spoken falsehood. I have not caused pain to others. I have not acted with deceit. These are not mere denials, but a proclamation of identity, a declaration that the soul has striven to live in accordance with Ma'at, the divine principle of balance. Each of the 42 confessions addresses a specific moral failing, a challenge to the soul to stand tall and proclaim its purity before the divine assembly. Yet, the stakes of this trial are profound. Should the heart fail, should it prove heavy with guilt, it would face a fate more terrifying than death itself. Waiting in the shadows is Ammit, a monstrous creature, part crocodile, part lion, part hippopotamus, whose role is not to torment, but to erase. A soul whose heart tips the scale would be devoured by Ammit, its existence forgotten, its place in the cycle of rebirth extinguished forever. But for those whose hearts are light, whose lives reflect the truth of Ma'at, the gates of paradise open wide. They are welcomed into a realm of eternal light where they may dwell among the gods, reunited with loved ones, and live in unending peace. Let us pause here, dear ones, and reflect. This trial of the heart speaks not only to the afterlife, but to the life we live now. Each day, we stand before the scale of our own conscience, weighing our choices, our words, our actions. Are we living in truth? Are we sowing compassion? Are we building a heart that will rise when the moment of reckoning comes? The weighing of the heart reminds us that eternity is not a distant promise, but a reality shaped by the way we love, forgive, and seek justice in the present. Like the Egyptians, we are called to prepare our hearts, to live with moral courage, and to trust that a life aligned with truth will carry us into the light. Now, let us venture deeper into a realm few dared to imagine, the Duat, the mystical underworld of the Egyptian afterlife. This is no simple resting place, no quiet purgatory for the soul. The Duat is a vast, ever-shifting landscape, a cosmic labyrinth of rivers of fire, lakes of darkness, mountains of flame, and halls guarded by serpent-headed gods and monstrous beings. It is a mirror of the soul's deepest fears, desires, and hidden truths, a place where the unprepared may falter, but the wise may rise. The Duat is divided into 12 gates, each corresponding to the 12 hours of the night, just as the sun god Ra journeys through this realm each evening, battling the forces of chaos to rise anew at dawn. Yet, unlike Ra, who is divine and eternal, the soul of the departed is vulnerable, exposed to dangers that test its strength, wisdom, and faith. Here, the Book of the Dead becomes the soul's most precious companion, its spells and incantations serving as tools of survival in a world where nothing is as it seems. Within the scrolls are words of power, a spell to calm the crocodile that guards the waterway, another to freeze the knife-wielding demon at the next gate, another to preserve the soul's body as it journeys forward. These are not symbolic phrases, but literal protections believed to hold sway in a realm as real as the earth we walk. The soul must navigate a terrain filled with illusions, temptations, and spirits that seek to deceive or destroy. At every turn, it faces trials that demand not only knowledge, but spiritual integrity. Among the greatest dangers in the Duat is Apophis, the great serpent of chaos, the embodiment of disorder, fear, and eternal night. Every evening, Ra battles Apophis to ensure the sun rises again, and so too must the soul confront this force of annihilation. The Book of the Dead provides incantations to bind, blind, or repel Apophis, invoking the strength of Ra or the cunning of other gods. Yet, these battles are more than physical, they are spiritual. Apophis represents the chaos within us, our doubts, our fears, our moments of despair. To overcome Apophis is to conquer the shadows of the soul, to affirm that light and order will prevail. The Duat is ruled by Osiris, the Lord of the Dead, yet even he cannot intervene directly. The soul must earn its passage, relying on the wisdom of the sacred texts and the purity of its heart. Each gate, each trial, is a step toward transformation, a chance for the soul to prove its readiness to move beyond the mortal world. As we contemplate this journey, let us ask, what are the trials we face in our own lives? What chaos threatens to overwhelm us? The Duat teaches us that the soul's greatest strength lies not in avoiding danger, but in facing it with courage, armed with the truth and guided by the divine. My beloved brothers and sisters, as the soul ventures deeper into the shadowed realm of the Duat, it encounters a new challenge, one that tests not only its courage but its wisdom. The divine guardians who stand watch at each of the 12 gates. These are not mere sentinels, but beings of immense power, their forms both wondrous and terrifying. Some with the heads of serpents, others wreathed in flame. To pass, the soul must speak their true names, for in the ancient Egyptian understanding, to know the name of a thing is to hold power over it, to claim a place within the divine order. This is no simple test of memory, dear ones, but a profound trial of spiritual identity. The guardians do not ask for names as a formality. They demand proof that the soul has studied the mysteries of life and death, that it understands the sacred logic that binds the cosmos. The Book of the Dead, ever the soul's faithful guide, provides the necessary spells, passwords, and riddles. I know the name of the gatekeeper, the soul declares. I speak the words of power. Let me pass unseen. These words are more than incantations. They are affirmations of the soul's readiness to transcend the mortal world and walk among the divine. Yet, the Duat is a place of deception, where illusions and temptations abound. False paradises shimmer in the distance, promising rest but leading to entrapment. Malevolent spirits lurk, seeking to steal the soul's heart or erase its name, its very essence. To the Egyptians, the name, or Ren, was the core of a person's being. To lose it was to suffer a second death, a fate more devastating than the first, for it meant fading into nothingness, forgotten by both the living and the divine. The Book of the Dead is filled with spells to protect this sacred identity. Let not my name be forgotten. Let not my heart be taken. Let me stand firm in the presence of the gods. Imagine the soul at each gate, its voice steady despite the darkness, reciting the names of the guardians with clarity and conviction. This act is a declaration of belonging, a reminder that the soul is not an intruder in the do-it, but a rightful heir to eternity. Yet the journey is fraught with peril. Some gates demand riddles, others require the soul to recognize the hidden truths of the cosmos. Each encounter is a step toward enlightenment, a chance to shed the fears and doubts that cling to the mortal self. As we reflect on this, let us consider our own names, our own identities. In our lives, we face moments when we must stand firm, when we must speak our truth in the face of fear or uncertainty. The guardians of the do-it remind us that true power lies not in force, but in knowledge, in understanding who we are and the divine purpose that guides us. Like the soul in the do-it, we are called to protect our essence, to hold fast to our integrity, and to trust that the wisdom we carry will light our path through the darkest trials. Dear ones, the do-it is not merely a place of danger, but a sacred crucible where the soul is transformed. The trials of the underworld, its monsters, its guardians, its illusions, are not meant to destroy, but to refine, to strip away the mortal veil and reveal the divine spark within. The Book of the Dead, with its intricate spells and declarations, serves as a guide for the spiritual alchemy, leading the soul toward a state of eternal radiance. Listen to the words woven into the scrolls, words that pulse with power and possibility. I am the lotus blooming at dawn. I am the falcon of Horus soaring above the earth. I am the flame that purifies the path. I am the star that shines in the eternal night. These are not boasts, but acts of transformation. By aligning itself with the gods, with the elements of creation, the soul begins to shed its earthly limits and take on a higher form. This is the heart of Egyptian spirituality, the belief that the soul is not fixed, but ever-evolving, capable of becoming one with the divine. Each challenge in the do-it is a step toward this metamorphosis. When the soul overcomes a demon, it conquers its own fears. When it speaks the name of a guardian, it claims its place in the cosmic order. When it resists the lure of false paradises, it affirms its commitment to truth. The Book of the Dead offers spells to reclaim lost memories, to unite with spiritual archetypes, to access divine knowledge. I am at the moment of creation, the soul proclaims. I am the breath of the gods. I am the light that endures. This journey is not without its perils. The do-it tests the soul's resolve, tempting it with comfort or threatening it with oblivion. Yet, the scrolls offer reassurance. You shall not be trapped. You shall not be burned. You shall not fall into darkness. You shall rise as the phoenix, whole and radiant. These words are a reminder that transformation is not a gift bestowed, but a destiny earned through courage, wisdom, and faith. The do-it, in its deepest essence, is both trial and teacher. It mirrors the struggles we face in our own lives, moments of loss, doubt, or temptation that challenge us to grow. Just as the soul must confront its inner chaos to emerge reborn, so too must we face our own shadows to become who we are meant to be. The alchemy of the do-it teaches us that life and death are not separate, but part of a sacred rhythm, a spiral of growth that leads ever upward. As the soul nears the end of its journey, it begins to understand that every hardship, every trial is a step toward divine resurrection, a chance to shine as a light in the eternal cosmos. My beloved brothers and sisters, after the trials of the do-it, after facing guardians, demons, and the chaos within, the soul stands at the threshold of its ultimate destiny, a sacred metamorphosis, a cosmic rebirth. The Egyptian Book of the Dead does not seek mere survival beyond the grave. Its highest aim is divinization, the transformation of the soul into something eternal, radiant, and godlike. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, but a process, a journey that culminated not in annihilation, but in a vibrant, everlasting renewal. Having passed the weighing of the heart and the perilous gates of the do-it, the soul is no longer a mere mortal. It becomes Osiris, the god of death and resurrection, who himself was slain, dismembered, and reborn through the love of Isis. To become Osiris is not a metaphor, but a profound truth. The soul rises above the confines of flesh, joining the eternal cycle of creation. In the spells of the Book of the Dead, the soul declares with awe and conviction, I am Osiris. My soul is divine. My limbs are the limbs of the gods. I shine like the stars. I sail with Ra in his solar boat. I rise at dawn, I set at twilight, I am imperishable, I am eternal. These words are a mystical proclamation, a claim to a new identity woven into the fabric of the cosmos. In this divine state, the soul takes on the powers of the gods. It may join Ra in his nightly battle against Apophis, ensuring the sun's rebirth each morning. It may commune with the gods in celestial palaces, taking forms that symbolize its freedom, a falcon soaring above the earth, a lotus blooming in the dawn, a star blazing in the night sky. Yet, for many souls, the greatest reward is not abstract power, but a paradise known as the Field of Reeds or Aru. This is no vague heaven, but a perfected reflection of life on earth, a lush landscape of endless green fields, flowing waters, and radiant light. Here, the soul reunites with ancestors, lives without suffering, and enjoys the fruits of a just life forever. The Book of the Dead describes this paradise with tender detail. The soul plants and harvests crops not with toil, but with joy, aided by magical figurines buried with the dead, brought to life to serve in the afterlife. Food is abundant, time is endless, and the soul dwells in harmony, surrounded by beauty and serenity. What is remarkable, dear ones, is the personal nature of this eternity. Each soul's afterlife is tailored to its memories, desires, and spiritual growth, crafted by the wisdom of the gods to reflect the life it lived. There is no uniform heaven. Each soul is known, remembered, and loved by the divine order. Yet, the journey does not end here. The soul continues to evolve, to gain wisdom, to participate in the cosmic balance. Some texts speak of the soul visiting the earth, watching over loved ones, guiding the living, or offering protection to descendants. Death, in the Egyptian imagination, is not a rupture, but a transformation into a higher state of responsibility and connection. At the heart of this vision is the soul's name, its Ren. To the Egyptians, the name was the essence of being. If it was spoken, honored, preserved in stone or memory, the soul endured. If forgotten, the soul risked fading into nothingness. This is why tombs, temples, and scrolls bore names with such care, ensuring the soul's legacy for eternity. As we contemplate this promise of rebirth, let us ask, what legacy are we crafting? What name will we leave behind, not in stone, but in the hearts of those we touch? The Book of the Dead teaches that eternity is not a distant reward, but a state of being, forged through a life of truth, love, and alignment with the divine. The soul that achieves this does not merely rest, it radiates, becoming a light in the cosmos, a presence in the eternal now. My dear friends, as we stand at the close of this journey through the mysteries of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, let us pause and reflect on its timeless wisdom. This ancient guide, written by a people who saw the divine in every sunrise, is not merely a relic of a distant past. It is a mirror for our souls, a call to live with purpose, to prepare our hearts for the eternal now. The Egyptians understood something profound, that life and death are not opposites, but partners in a sacred dance, a rhythm that leads us ever closer to the divine. The Book of the Dead asks us questions that echo across the ages. Who are you in the eyes of eternity? Have you lived in harmony with truth, justice, and compassion? Have you allowed your heart to grow light with love, or have you let it grow heavy with regret? These are not questions for the dead, but for the living. They challenge us to examine our lives, to confront our inner chaos, to seek the divine spark within. Like the soul in the Do-It, we face trials, moments of doubt, loss, or temptation, but we are not alone. The wisdom of the ages, the love of those around us, and the grace of the divine guide us if we have the courage to listen. In our modern world, where distractions abound and the pursuit of material wealth often overshadows the needs of the soul, the Book of the Dead calls us back to a deeper truth. It reminds us that the soul must be nourished, that a life without spiritual awareness is like wandering the Do-It without spells, blind, vulnerable, and easily led astray. It teaches us that true judgment lies not in wealth or power, but in the heart, and that a life lived in truth is the only passport to eternity. So, my brothers and sisters, let us take this wisdom to heart. Let us live with moral courage, with compassion, with a commitment to justice and love. Let us prepare our souls not just for the hereafter, but for the sacred moments of today. And let us honor the names of those who came before us, keeping their light alive through our actions, our prayers, and our love. If this journey has touched your heart, I invite you to share it with others. Like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, or share it with someone seeking meaning in their own life. Together, let us spread this ancient wisdom, a beacon of hope in a world that so often forgets the eternal. May your heart be light, your soul radiant, and your life a testament to the divine truth that binds us all. Go in peace, and may the light of eternity guide your way.